Hello, everybody. I want to start by expressing a sort of deep gratitude to Burnaby Writers Society for inviting me to read today. 2 weeks ago, I came home from 5 days in Vancouver General Hospital where I had surgery to remove a cancerous tumor in my colon. I came home feeling very fragile and very confused. And then I read Lara's email inviting me to read here, and I thought, oh, yeah, right, that's right. I have a life. Let's get on with this. So, it just gave me something to focus on, right? It's easy to get lost in the cancer thing. Um, so what I want you to, I'm going to read poetry today. You should probably know that I'm happiest writing fiction because I can sort of hide myself behind that thin scrim of story. Not so with poetry. Since I was a child, poetry is where I go to try to understand the puzzle of my life or to find a path through some kind of darkness. So more than it's 3.5 years now, my husband of 40 years died, and poetry was all I could write at that time. Poetry about grieving, poetry about death. So I've brought 9 poems to read to you today. I'm a page poet. I don't write long poetry. I've divided them into 3 sections. And the first section is about losing Richard, my husband for 40 years. This is 3 days before you died. 3 days before you died, you asked how I was feeling, and all my words fell short, like when I try to skim stones across water. The angle, the pitch, the rhythm of the syllables only arc toward the telling. A stone's slip and sinking skid, sounds scattering like refracted light. Write a poem, you said. Second poem, Thoughts While Drowning. I never trust people who don't like the beach, who don't revel at its edge, the divide between where we are and where we were before dragging legless out of the brine, drying to discover how to move, evolve, land beyond sea. The edge where sand shifts to grains and spreads like a model universe, to etch prints of our feet delivered in the shapes of souls, as cliched as the full moon that sits tonight in high judgment of this place, a haloed sphere, pockmarked by its understanding of the coming fall. Now, tired out beyond rescue, I realize how much better I feel near the water. I hear your heart in waves that pound, feel you in drops of rain sent down, know you as my hand knows sand. I hold on to some. Third poem. It's about the doubts. They creep endlessly through my mind like insects, secret and stirring behind impenetrable walls of yesterday. When you woke and could not get out of bed or speak a word, silence spoke your pain, and I, like always, tried to land on nothing could go wrong in our world. Not cancer growing secret in your flesh, boring into your bones, though the solid and oaken foundation of the life we believed we had constructed, with clear blueprints outlining today and tomorrow, even though such plans would never be, which we should have known, but could not have known, as the human mind is not attuned to the signs of the world, doubts that halo both the moon and the sea, each a paradox of constancy and everlasting impermanence. That is the truth. We must always doubt the appearance of stability and expect earthquake, flood, disease, while at the same time remain, as is our legacy, walking upright. Section 2. A year after Richard died, I decided I was going to go back to England, where I'd lived till I was 15. Um, and, when I was a young woman, I traveled everywhere alone. And yet I arrived in Manchester in my 70s and had no idea what to do with my silly self. So I ended up taking tours and going on trains and dashing about here, there, and everywhere. And it turned out to be kind of important to me in the long run because I reconnected with my family. Generations of my Kenyon family lived there. This is Pick Up the Shuttle. Some of my dead speak from behind the red bricked walls of the empty cotton mill on the banks of the Goit River. They call to me from that cold, unlit place, whistling their old music with the endless patience of those outside of time. I lack the skill to keep them buried beneath Lancashire's rolling hills. I hear their clopping, wooden clogs on cobblestones, their dawn hustle to clock in at the mill. The clunking looms, clatter of shuttles flying through warp and weft to fettle fabric with fine spun thin threads. Breathe in heated air, whirlwind cotton floaters filling lungs. Weaver's cough. Missing fingers, mangled hands, and yet these women and men of my family, they rise across the long, slow caress of years to shine their light and dignity on my life's path. I don't know about you, but I'm forever developing crushes on various poets. And through the pandemic, I studied Sylvia Plath, every word she had ever written. I even read the big fat biography written about her. And through that, discovered that she had a poem called Hardcastle Crags. And that fascinated me because Hardcastle Crags was the very first place I visited outside the city of Manchester. I guess teachers of inner city kids had kind of figured that if we were to see trees and grass growing somewhere other than in lines like they do in parks, they had to take us by bus out to Yorkshire. So I think I was 6 going on 7, and we went to see the Bronte sisters' parsonage in Hayworth and the Hardcastle Crags where Sylvia Plath is now buried. And when I went back in 24, I visited there too. So this is by bus to Hardcastle Crags. My father said in Yorkshire I'd see gnomes. First time away from my Manchester home. No hopscotch on corporation flagstones or balls thudding against soot-covered walls. No milk carts, coal drays, men selling rags and bones. This was a place lacking tarmac and brick, unfamiliar earth somehow stripped bare, the moors vast and barren, grass and granite, stinging winds bite further into fire and fear. Here Jane Eyre became writer's magic. Dear Charlotte, Jane and I suffered together her nights on the moor, knee-deep in dark growth, chewing on bilberries. I never forget her courage, her trust in nature. I listen. My senses peel open to that time-weathered landscape. Sadness and genius see ghosts in northern mists, brooding rage and cruelty. Sylvia Plath, she turned back for a while. The years ahead to be lived called to me, the song of them a child's low hum on a bus. And this poem 6, this is the last poem I wrote in England. I stayed in a bed and breakfast where the bed, it wasn't even wide enough for me to sleep on my side. So I went out into the night and sat on the stoop and ended up writing this poem, which kind of, for me anyway, sums up the entire trip, is what is now. This night knits plied light like last summer and the summer before, teasing this now into stitches, uneven, foolish seconds. A goshawk overhead cries in a language shared only by working wood. A creaking moan, wood pushed and pulled by industrious hands. The sky's goodbye is a tensioned loom, questions skeening into tangled yards, wefting darkness out of sight. Beyond the peddling thrum of night, where, why, how, what is now? And in this last section, this is about my experience with cancer. Um, I had been at VGH, it seemed, on and off for months, and all the care was given by women. And then I'm in the perioperative, those little cubicles they put you in before they take you in to surgery. And I'm sort of not paying attention. And then I look up and I am surrounded by five men. And oh, this is new. This was the surgical team. And this kind of knocked me back a step or two, like, oh, the surgeons are men. So I wrote a poem called Surgeon. The person who slices past your layers and peers into the crowded cavern of guts knows you in a way you will never know yourself. What if there was nothing memorable? Your disease no worse than average, your organs ordered and sized in the standard issue style. Maybe the one person who's really seen you won't even remember you, couldn't distinguish your interior from your mother's. What then? And what about the surgeon and all those forgotten intimacies? What kind of person calmly cuts another open, even with good intentions and a plan to leave things tidy when he goes? Who carries that kind of confidence in his hands? For your part, admit it. Weren't you underdressed and inattentive? Sleeping, in fact, when the encounter occurred, oblivious to the audience in formal attire, assistants and onlookers leaning over the orchestra pit of your abdomen, strings, percussion, and woodwinds tuning at the maestro's instruction. You know he's not going to call you later, just the one follow up to ensure that nothing was left behind, no unintended consequences. Healed and whole. Face it, you're no longer of interest. He's already preparing for the next performance. I did check the statistics in Canada, and even at the best of places, the percentage of female surgeons is 22%. But they do feel it's changing over time, and that's encouraging. For my eighth poem, I wrote a poem for Andrea Gibson. If you're not aware of Andrea Gibson, the spoken word poet, I came across her YouTube page accidentally in 2023. And I've been trying since July last year when they died of ovarian cancer to write a poem that would somehow echo the emotion they always created in me. I am no spoken word poet, but I tried hard to echo them in this poem. This is a thin space at the coffee shop on Hastings Street. I feel it for the first time. There and then, a thin space cracks open. Stars are birthing themselves while I hesitate beside the only other customer with their black knitted hat. I'm good at keeping my emotions tight as a bud in winter, hard, green, and stubborn. I refuse to let a single petal show until the season is exactly right. But I bite my tears back now, try to stay quiet. I sit on the stool beside them, while bluebells blossom in a forest somewhere far away. Their hat reads hate with an X through the E. I say, I love your hat. They grab my hand, the way a memory holds tight in the smallest of corners. They laugh and say, I always hope someone will notice. My last poem. This is Midsummer Cancer Dreams. In the night, again at 3 a.m., I rise to write down my dream, the dream escaping even as I write it. The way my memory now seems to fade the moment an incident is over, as if the past has retreated into that misty world where it hunkers forever beyond recall. It is quiet at this hour, curtains open, the dogs in deep sleep under the table, their bodies a lesson in relaxation. I wonder if I could learn from them. Outside, heavy rain as night pushes up against the window. Only the lamp in the corner keeps it from this room. All day yesterday, I had a lot of pain that made me shiver and clutch at my belly. At last asleep, I dream about a science museum with broken elevators stuck between floors. Then I was raped in an ancient orchard. And then there was a murder, not mine, but close enough to jolt me awake. Where is my safety now? Life for me is now about protection. Even the words to write this down become harder to find, as though they, too, have retreated into that vast, unreachable interior. I wish my old dream of peacocks strolling in my garden would return, or the one about the mansion on the hill with its fiercely glowing fireplace. Thank you.